So overall, today's session, I'll be walking through all the different sections, more defining everything. And then as an interactive session here, would love to have people just unmute themselves, give a stab at it. Whenever I ask a question about what this means or what this could be, feel free to just share or even ping it into the chat if you don't feel comfortable unmuting yourself. So let's get started here. All right. So first of all, who has seen this business model canvas before? Show of hands or show of chat. Anyone seen this before? Is this familiar to anyone? No? Okay. Great. Yeah, it's not very, sorry? Oh, someone. Okay. Yeah, it's like a storyboard. Exactly. I think it's pretty much like a storyboard, but for your business, right? For your idea. So how we usually like to read a storyboard with the BMC specifically, it's more from the right-hand side all the way to the left, and then we kind of look at the bottom here. So usually it's a way for us to brainstorm is kind of thinking about the business itself and who we're trying to add, who we're trying to target to, and then kind of figuring out how the logistics happen, and then even the very bottom, as you can see, cost and revenue, which is the money part, right? So I'll walk through each section here, and then at the end of this, we'll also walk through a really, really scrappy example of how this would look like in real life with a fake lemonade stand example. All right, so customer segments here. For customer segments, pretty straightforward, but we can kind of take a stab at it. Basically, this section is where you can identify who your audience is and who you want, basically the demographic, all the descriptions of who would be the customer of your business, right? So you would list everything from age, demographic, types of people or types of users, right? In terms of who these people would be. So you can list every single individual out there that you can imagine being a particular customer for your business. And then for the customer relationship, moving towards the left-hand side here, basically this is kind of understanding how we engage with our customers and how we develop that kind of relationship, whether even it's identifying if this is a one-time situation or a longer-term building relationship for your business. So again, the examples we'll discuss later on will be easier to visualize, but basically this section is kind of how you identify your customers and how you continue building that long-term relationship with them and how you interact with your customers. And feel free to unmute yourself or / ping on the chat here if you have any questions. And I'm happy to answer any here. But we'll just kind of move on here so that we, in just the matter of time here, just make sure we don't run out of time. And then underneath customer relationships here are channels. So basically what channels is kind of where and how are you going to kind of reach your customer? How are you going to engage with your customer? How are you going to build your relationship with your customer that you've identified, right? So in general, like this is, if, for example, if it's online, you can say, oh, I'm on your channel could be like a website, your channel could be an app, or your channel could be in person, right? So this is like specifically identifying where you can reach your customer audience. Okay, now in the middle section here, value proposition. This is a tricky one, but most important one too, because this is where you can identify what exactly is the mission of your business. What is the value that you bring to your customers that stand out from your competitors, right? So this could be something just simple that could be, just for example, at Google, our mission statement is to make all information accessible to the world. That's our value proposition here. And so this kind of funnels into making sure all our products, all the things that you stand for is going to be directed back to what you state in this middle box here. What is your value proposition, right? So I'd say this is probably more of a trickier and harder part to identify and hone in, but this will be kind of your guiding force and guiding light to how you make your decisions and how you kind of build your business long-term. Alrighty, moving on to the left side here, key activities, key resources, and key partners. Now this section is more internal. It's more of what you start thinking about internally behind the business doors, what you need to do to make your business sustainable and grow basically, right? So key activities are kind of identifying what specific things you need to do to make your business run, right? Like what exactly do you need to do on a day-to-day, what are your to-do lists, right? On how to develop this business and execute and make sure that we can continue this business and keep it running. And then, pretty much in terms of key resources, pretty explainable, but basically what are the things that you need to, like, physical resources that you need to create this business and build this business up, right? So key activities go hand in hand with key resources. And it's basically kind of understanding what do you need right now to build your business and continue running it in order to deliver to your customers. And then lastly for here, key partners are people, resources, people that you will need to help you build your business, right? So imagine, for example, what are the people in this business that you would really need to continue building your business and then sustainably grow that business with you. And we'll go through an example here. So again, these are just definitions. Feel free, we'll revisit this again and make an interactive kind of example here. But basically, key activities, key resources, key partners are just all the things you need to do at the back end of the business and all the things you need to provide for the business to keep running and growing. Any questions right now on the top 3/4 of this business or storyboard or business model canvas here? Pretty straightforward. Channel the right, wrong ones. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Okay, so let's go down to the very bottom here, cost structure and revenue streams. I'll make this interactive. Can anyone give me a guess or tell me what cost structure, what does it mean to put, what would you put inside a cost structure here?
Would it be like how like the costs are structured, like fixed costs, like variable costs, where they're coming from, something like that? More like
Yeah.
like the percentage of costs or something like that. I'm not sure. Would it be like a list or like how they're all the percentage and everything?
No, that's correct. Definitely kind of identifying what are all the costs you need to create your business, to sustain your business, and to run your business, right? Yes, budget, how the business gets paid. Well, how the business gets paid is kind of the revenue side, right? So not just yet, but that's on the other side here. Cost per goods sold, profit, net profit losses, forecasts. These are great, guys. Awesome. Yeah. Basically, how do we get paid in terms of, or not how do we create this or what are the costs specifically to run this business? Like what kind of money do we need to invest in to start, right? And how much money do we need to continue running this business? So I know it's a little confusing here because cost can be kind of like how much we get paid in the money side, but more of like how much do you need to invest and how much money do you need in the bank to continue running and growing your business here. And then as said, revenue streams, this is how you get paid, how you can kind of build multiple, streams of revenue in terms of like channels, whether it's through the app that you wanted to build or just in person. Like this is kind of like figuring out where you can continue building these revenue streams and how you get paid basically. Cool. Any questions on the business model canvas before we run through an example? I know I talked a lot, but I wanted to kind of just walk through these definitions to start, and then we can kind of do an example after this here. I'm also switching between tabs just to see. Yeah, of course. Key activities. Okay. Yes. So key activities are basically whenever you create a business here, what are the things that you need to do specifically on in order to start running this business, right? So for example, like if you were to, for example, I'll just say from Google perspective, just because it's kind of a general example, but if I were the founder of Google, I would want to, first of all, hire engineers, hire developers. I would need to create a domain. I would need to create or buy a server, pay server costs and stuff like that. And so what are the things that you need to do specifically to get started and also continue running the business? So basically it's kind of like activities, things and tasks you need to do to run and start the business here.
Could you maybe talk a bit more about, to answer the question, is it ideal to present a business model canvas in a presentation stack? Could you maybe talk more on that?
Yeah, good question. I'd say it would be ideal to start when you first have a startup business, just so you can kind of show others specifically like who you're going to target. And I think a business model canvas can come in many iterations. So you can start with a lot of different ideas, a lot of different customers, and then hone in and divide and figure out specifically, hey, maybe we shouldn't be targeting this particular customer, even though it makes sense. Maybe we should focus on just one customer segment to start. So again, I would say it would be ideal to present multiple iterations and kind of see which one makes the most sense here. And I would say that in general, like business model canvases is kind of more of a canvas and storyboard, as someone mentioned here. So in a way, it's kind of a way to draft up your business. And I'd say, I think in this scenario for the 4-day hackathon, it would be very helpful to kind of present that and show that there as well. But I know, Vivian, you're doing a presentation training, right? So I think she'll explain a little bit more about that too, moving forward. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that was okay. I think so. Then you have another question from Kamana. How about reserve and risk? How do that include in business model, or how do you include that in the business model? Like, I guess the risk of potential downsides.
Yeah, I would say in terms of risk, I would probably put that, let's see, in the business model canvas, it's a little bit more of a general start here, but if it's like a revenue risk potential, then I would probably put into the cost structure, right? How much we might have to consider paying for a certain risk out there, right? So that more of the liabilities there. Generally for BMCs, this is kind of an iteration or ideation on kind of developing your idea, but it is good to kind of focus on like putting in some potential risk, which could be, for example, in your cost structure, right? So how much it would cost in that sense. And again, I think to keep in mind, these are the key partners, key activities also might be a good place to kind of put those there as well, or key resources like, hey, we might need extra resources for this here in case something happened. So in a sense, kind of when you ideate your business here, it'd probably be more on the key partners, key activities, key resource section. And then you can definitely put a lot of those notes at under this cost structure if there's more of a financial risk out there.
Hey, and why don't you go ahead and actually present the example? I think that would make things a lot more clear.
Sure, definitely can. All right, so I created a template here with a lemonade stand, and I personally put a couple examples, but again, it won't encompass everything. So again, feel free to chime in on any ideas here, because I'm pretty sure all of us have creative minds and we can definitely leverage all minds here to kind of create the most ideal lemonade stand. So for example, let's pretend Adu here wants to create a lemonade stand. And so let's start with the customer segments and move our way through and kind of walk through how we would actually create this lemonade stand idea. Okay, so customer segments. Anyone want to just ping in overall examples of customer segments that could be in a lemonade stand? Yep, suburban moms. So I put down families with children, nearby construction workers. I don't know if you guys had your own lemonade stands when you guys were kids, but I remember construction workers, if you're nearby that corner, you'd get a lot of business. So there's neighbors in the street. Yep, Girl Scouts, there you go. Young children, mailmen, hoopers, bystanders. Yeah, bystanders, just anyone in the park, exactly. Yeah, so these are people, imagine, so customer segments are people who would purchase your product, right? Who are your customers? Customer relationships. This is a little bit tricky, actually, but anyone want to try out customer relationships? Anyone? Ping it over here. A little tricky here. Okay. Customer relationships. So for an lemonade stand, this is just brainstorming here. What we could do to develop relationships with our customers could be, hey, maybe we do a weekday lemonade stand during construction times, and we can do it every single day. So we now have a relationship with these construction workers on, every Friday we have lemonade, right? So that could be a way to develop your customer relationship. You can even do, for example, if it's just a one-time thing, if you got their emails or if you got their phone numbers, you can follow up with the survey, for example, on your lemonade and say, hey, would love some feedback. And this is how you develop your relationship. And in the future, if you guys were to launch another lemonade stand a month later, you can develop that relationship by saying, hey, email them again, we're here. It's a way to kind of figure out how you further engage with your customers. Partner with Girl Scouts. Yeah. Okay, moving on, channels. What would be good channels for a lemonade stand? Yep, a physical stand, exactly. It's a good answer. Social media, yeah. Yep, so I put down outside the house on a lemonade stand, physical stand. If you wanted to be bold, we could do an online lemonade delivery website if there was a formal way to deliver lemonade via truck here. But yeah, so many channels here. It's just basically how you specifically engage with your customers. Yeah, serving outdoor events. That's perfect channel there. Parking lot. Yep. Very creative. Yeah, if you wanted to bike around the neighborhood, have a whole lemonade, gallons of lemonade there. That's perfect. Yeah, and an app. Yes, Vivian, an app would be very, very forward thinking there. Okay. All right. So value proposition, guys. I was getting a little creative here, but feel free. Again, I think this would be great for us to kind of brainstorm. What would be a value proposition for a lemonade stand? No. Why would you want to sell lemonade outside in front of, for example, a busy parking lot? Hydration. Yeah. Convenience. Quench people's thirst. Yep. There you go. Yes. For example, eradicate dehydration in the city. I went a little extreme here. You could also say being accessible, and because people are thirsty, they want lemonade, and maybe they're stuck at home and they can't really go outside and go to a formal drink stand or whatever. You're nearby and you can literally walk there, right? So I even mentioned maybe leveraging more on the product level. So instead of saying, hey, I want to bring all drink options to the neighborhood, you can even say, hey, the reason why you want to buy from us is because we have homegrown lemons that are fresh and organic, and they're freshly juiced every single day. You can even say that. A lot of brands out there will focus on a specific value or a mission, right? So I think it could be anything, but basically this is where you can kind of hone in on the why for your business. Yeah, and you can make it philanthropic. You can donate part of the proceeds. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Good for health. Life gave us lemons. I love that. Okay. Next, let's move on to the key activities, resources, and key partners here. And I just want to check time. Okay. So key activities, what do we need to do for a lemonade stand? I'm just going to put this out here. For example, things we need to do. I know that there was a question about activities here. So literally, what do we need to do to create lemonade and actually sell our lemonade? So for example, you would need to squeeze and make the lemonade. For example, if you have marketing that you need to do, you can create signs and filters. Keep pinging in suggestions, guys, because this is not all the ideas that are out there. And then other things you could do, collect ingredients, make the stand. Yep. Setting up the website. Yeah, especially if you wanted to sell online. Yeah, so lemonade slushies. That's a unique idea. Yeah, you can make that. The key activity would be to make the slushie, maybe even acquire ice for that, right? So yeah, exactly. Okay. And then key resources would be, again, this is pretty straightforward, but what do you need to specifically make your product, right? So sugar, water, lemons, cups. If you want to do slushy, you need to get like a slushy maker probably. So those are your resources that you need to acquire before, or while you make your product here. Maybe even, yeah, posters here, markers, marketing utensils, money box. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Napkin, spoons. Mom's purchase, sell on property. I love that. Yes. Yeah. But speaking of like getting mom's permission, maybe that's your key partner now, right? So your key partner would be who would you need as a partner for your business? Again, I'm just being general here. I said family, friends, cousins, siblings, but yeah, it could be literally anyone. Who would you need help, or who would you want to like reach out to in order for you to continue building your business, right? So yeah, let's see. That is, I'm just reading the comments here. Yeah, I love all these ideas. Amazing. You guys are gonna be great this weekend. Oh, Grubhub. So that would be a channel. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the last bottom part here, cost structure. So as mentioned, this is kind of where we focus on, for example, the cost of how much it would cost to make your product, right? So for me, I wrote down just ingredients. I put down the specific amount. So this is kind of flexible. You can feel free to just generalize and say, hey, we need ingredients. We need to buy a website or whatever. I just wrote down specific numbers so that in the future you can kind of see, hey, if we were to spend this much money, how much do we need to charge and stuff like that. So if anything, this is pretty general. You can put a lot of things inside this bucket here. And then, for example, if you were to use Stripe or any kind of online credit card utilized tool, you would need to pay, for example, consider credit card fees on the app, right? So put 2%. So it's just an example. Any other ideas on the cost structure here? Anything you might need to think about the cost here? Any ideas? Pretty standard for a lemonade business stand. So yeah, pretty straightforward. But I feel like in more business models, you can imagine there's a lot of other potential costs, maybe even liabilities that you have to consider inside here. But in general, costs should just be focused on how much you can expect to have to save up in order to start this business. And then I'll just go on with the revenue here. Very straightforward in general. I put down, for example, if we were to charge $3 a cup, this would be our revenue stream. For every cup we sell, we have $3, right? So imagining that, you can kind of calculate, your revenue stream in that sense. For example, you can also get revenue streams from tips. And if you are on an app, that would be where your revenue streams would be too. So if you were to have a physical stand and then you have an app, 2 revenue streams right there, you would have money coming in throughout your business. Does anyone have any other ideas on how you can make money for a lemonade stand? Oh, just lots of hands. Merch, yeah, that's perfect. Merch, yes. Franchising, yeah, that'd be a good idea if you have a large brand here. Yeah, additional merch, that's great. Lemonade plushies. Oh, that's very smart. Sponsors on the cups. That's great. That would be on the marketing end, yeah. Subscription model, yes, that would be something you would put into your revenue stream, as well as more of maybe your channel, I would say. So how you can kind of what other models you can leverage in terms of like actually no, that would be your revenue streams. Never mind, that's perfect. I was thinking about a different like opportunity with like another website out there. But yeah, these are all great ideas. And I think I saw a question up here. I'm not sure if I'm missing it here, but lots of great ideas. And I know we have 3 minutes left, so I don't know if there's anything else. And Vivian, feel free to let me know if there's a time you have to stop at specifically, or.
You're fine. You can start wrapping up if you have nothing left, or you can answer the few in the chat. It's up to you.
Yeah, no, this is my last slide. So I know I went through a lot. I'm pretty sure we can kind of dive deeper. Given that we only have 30 minutes, I wanted to kind of run through examples as well as all the definitions. But if you guys have questions right now, more specific, please ping it over here, or and I can answer. I think I saw a question somewhere up here.
And is also an advocate, so she will be mentoring one team tomorrow. And you can also message her in the Slack if you have questions about the business model canvas. But we will go through a little more in depth in the next session.
Sorry, I just saw Paula's question up here. I think, do you incorporate labor costs? So yes, labor costs would be underneath the cost structure, yes. So how much would you be paying your employees even? So assuming a dude's a one-man show, he wouldn't need to pay himself per se, but if you were to hire his sister, for example, and she needed a salary, then that would be under your cost structure. Any other questions? Anything top of mind here?
Would you say one of the most important things to start off the bat is to make sure that you can get the value proposition down, or Or what would you say is like the first thing you should really tackle for these teams?
Yeah, good question. I personally think it's important to tackle in the value prop. I guess obviously understanding, what business you wanted to do, but I think kind of driving that would be the ultimate driving force of your why. So I would say I think all are important, but to start, maybe value prop would be the starting point, but then kind of identify your customers, and then key resources would be kind of secondary, and then your cost structure underneath. But generally the value proposition is kind of the place of where you kind of extend how your business continues running long term, because this is the ultimate, why to your business. And I think I saw another question here. Can businesses be part of your customer segments? Yes, they can. So if you were, for example, a B2B, yeah, exactly. There you go. Good answer there. Yeah, B2B segments or business models could be basically your customer would be a business versus your individual consumer.